It's the holidays, which means that people will be starting their GLP-1s. So I went through the sign-up flow for the major GLP-1 providers, and today in this teardown, we'll focus on 3 things that the GLP-1 sign-up flows can teach tech companies. So the first one is how to segment or personalize on the right things. The second is how to decrease drop-off on sign-up flows, especially for long ones. And the third are clever pricing hacks to increase retention. Lesson 1 is segmentation. So companies often ask us for help on how to segment and trying to figure out some nuanced difference between consumers. And I think that GLP-1s have this figured out in a smarter way. So here goes. This is row. I'm going to click, what is your gender? How much would you like to lose? And then it asks me this question. Do you want to check insurance? And it's basically a fork because the sign-up flow really has to change. The product has to change based on if I'm getting it for free or not. Hims does it slightly different. What am I looking to lose? And this is also very nice. They say, do you have a specific weight loss medication in mind? So this is segmenting based on intent. Look, if I'm coming in for Ozempic, I don't really want a recommendation for Zepbound, right? I know what I want. So they're segmenting based on the likelihood that you have something in mind. So for tech companies, examples of the segmentation could look like a CRM company saying, are you a salesperson or are you a marketing person? Because the product should be different if you're sales or marketing. For online banking, it could look like, are you switching from an old bank's Chase to something new? Or are you a new business signing up for a new account? These are very different value propositions. Somebody who's switching banks may want something that's easy and seamless to transfer information. A new LLC may want good interest rates or debt. Right. So basically by asking these smart, bigger questions up front, and these sign-up flows are long. This is like the third question for both of these guys. It's not, do you want a certain feature? This is about fundamentally different user journeys. Okay. That was lesson 1. Lesson 2 is about sign-up flows and how to increase motivation and decrease friction. But by decreasing friction, we're actually decreasing objections. We're decreasing the reason why somebody wouldn't use you. So the first one here is one that we saw, which was basically like, look, how much do you want to lose? And what this does, probably unintentionally, this could be a legal question, is set a mental model that these guys can help me lose over 50 pounds. Like what? That is insane. So questions can help set the mental model of the benefits that you can offer. And these GLP-1s are very, very good at that. In fact, almost all of them lead with this type of question that sets the idea that I could lose a lot of weight. Now, the second thing that they do is they tell you really why they're asking for information. So select the state you live in. This state is where your medicine will be shipped. I need to know it. Or to verify eligibility, we need to know your birthday. So basically you're saying there's friction here and I'm going to tie the friction with the benefit of what you get. I think that tech companies, finance companies, health companies are really bad at this. The thing that they do the best here is actually when they're asking for the email address. So email address tends to be a very high drop-off point for most sign-up flows. And again, both of these companies, Rose and Hims, pair it with the benefits. So see how much weight you could lose. Give me your email address. For Hims, it's find out which treatments you're eligible for. So they've increased my motivation, right? I really want to figure out what treatments I'm eligible for. And oh my gosh, okay, fine. I'll give you my email address. Like I don't really want to, but like if I have to in order to do this. So they're pairing the benefit with the friction. Many times in sign-up flows, you basically think if somebody's clicked the like, let's go or try on the landing page that you've got them. And now your goal is like the product team trying to kind of like get them set up well. Like you're still in sales mode. Before the trial ends, before they've given you money, you are still in sales mode. Okay. So the third way basically that these companies are increasing motivation is, and Hims does this incredible, is basically at every step of the way, they're telling you, you're doing a good job. Other people are doing this too. Let's see if we can trigger this. You know, they're saying like 83% of Americans don't like the weight. You're not alone. And so there's no one size fits all. Like these treatments are for you. So they're really hitting you with social proof that this is the right thing for you. And Noom does it maybe the best, which is basically saying like, have you taken a weight loss medication? No, I haven't. Why are you worried? I'm worried about side effects. I'm worried about cost. By the way, those are the top 2 objections. And then it says, look, great, we're going to get you that. We're going to get you a drug that is $69 a month. By the way, that's very low in this world. And you know what? People report that they don't have as many side effects the first month. They're addressing my objections because they asked me for my objections, and now they're going to say, you don't have to worry. So very clever ways to basically say the sign-up flow is being used to tell us what you do, ask me questions up front, how much you want to lose, and then it's telling me why I need the information by pairing it with the benefit. And then at each step of the way, it's handling my objections by either giving me social proof or just literally asking for my objections and then saying, no, we've solved that. Okay. The third lesson here is pricing. And I'm really excited to share this one because it has lessons for all tech companies who are doing subscription plans. Basically, what came out early on in GLP-1s is adherence was terrible. This is a report from Anthem, May of 2024, that said, look, 30% of people can't make it 4 weeks, and majority of people are not being on their prescribed medication for 12 weeks. So bad. Hims, on the other hand, came out and said, actually, our adherence is really good. And so the question is why? I went through their sign-up flow, and I think I know the answer. This is Ro's sign-up flow, but Hims and Noom do the same thing. They basically anchor you on a plan. So a 12-week plan, a 6-month plan, a 12-month plan. By doing this, you're committing mentally, but also financially to that amount and that length of time. When you sign up for a forever subscription, you're basically saying, I'm going to do Netflix forever. Never do you think I'm going to keep this a year. You just kind of wake up one day and be like, I probably should cancel my Netflix, huh? You've never pre-thought about how long you want it. And so Noom actually has kind of championed this right from the get-go. Before their GLP-1, they always had 3-month and 6-month plans. And I think more than their sign-up flow, this actually helped drive their success because people are pre-committing to a length of time that they're going to try this thing, and they're financially putting their money where their mouth is. So I think that the reason that Hims and Hers success and adherence was so strong is because the pricing drove retention. Now, I would warn you, I don't want you to say sign up for let's say your average retention is 2 months, and then you're sign up for a 8-month plan. That probably wouldn't work because people are dropping off immediately. You could probably say sign up for a 2-month plan and increase the median retention that you have because people are pre-committing, so more of them will actually do it. Or sign up for a 3-month plan and you're nudging them a little bit farther. So be careful of overcommitting people with this hack. But I think that people can really get a lot of legs out of moving subscription plans to little micro commitments that folks are doing, and you're going to increase your median retention along the way. If you do this and test it, do let me know. So the 3 lessons that we have. The first one is segment by bigger variables that can fundamentally change the user journey. The second one is pair the motivation with the friction in the sign-up flow. And the third is understand user behavior and create a pricing model that aligns with that, like these plan-based models. So happy holidays, and I look forward to the new year, the new you, and feel free to email me with any of your New Year's resolutions. Kristen@irrationallabs.com.